So hello and welcome back. I wanted to give you a quick garden update. 2 months after starting our off-grid garden. I have to admit I haven't put too much endeavor into this garden because if you are following our channel, you know that we have managed a lot of other projects to get our life kind of comfortable here. So the garden has been kind of a side project, but I just want to show you how it's doing, what has been working, what has not been working. It's been an experimental project anyways, but I'm pretty pleased with the outcome. So it's been exactly 2 months since we started this garden. We moved here in the middle of, towards the end actually of August. So the last few weeks of August, and I started the garden right away. And now we are in the end or towards the end of October, so it's been exactly 2 months. So the first month, of course, the garden was struggling like anything because it was too hot. If you have seen our first videos, I was very worried. And then suddenly when it started to get a little colder, like in the middle of September, suddenly it started to get colder and everything started to do much better in the garden. Now, first of all, my experiment number 1 was the garden beds themselves. I used the old hay that we got out of our barn and I layered it with compost that we bought because we didn't have our own compost. And those are the garden beds, and I'm super pleased with the outcome, I have to say. If we dig in here a little bit, it's all started to decompose and it's already forming really nice compost here. It's only 2 months and it's already forming nice compost. So those here are the first 2 garden beds that I planted. And the lettuce is doing extremely well. I've been harvesting lettuce for a month now. Since, I think 3-4 weeks, I've been harvesting lettuce every day. We never bought salad since we are here actually from the shop. So we are eating our own lettuce. It's doing extremely well. The cabbages and cauliflowers and propolis, they were struggling in the beginning when it was too hot. And then when it got cooler, they started to do really well. But then the bugs came and now they have holes in their leaves. So we have some cabbage flies or cabbage bugs here. And all the leaves are full of holes. But other than that, if I would have done something against the bugs, or if I would know what to do against the bugs, then they would do actually really well. I think the conditions for growing are really good actually because they're growing really strong. Then I put some basil seeds in here. This is a lemon basil, doing really well as well, but it also just started a couple of weeks ago and now suddenly it's growing like crazy. And I put some chives in between here. They are doing really well. I'm harvesting also every day a little bit for the salad. So from all the cucumbers that I planted cucumbers. I knew it's kind of off the season, but I still wanted to try. Those are the first little cucumbers that we are getting here. Not a lot, but still was worth to try. The zucchinis that I have here, they are I planted them out way too late. That's why they are still very small. So this zucchini here is doing really well. It has huge leaves and a lot of flowers. It's flowering like crazy, but it has only male flowers. I don't know, this is a very weird phenomenon for me. I never experienced before. If anyone knows what it might be or why, would be very interested to know. Because the plant is strong, has strong leaves, strong flowers, but only male flowers. Until now, we didn't have even one single female flower. And here in this bed, I have 3 pumpkin plants that we actually planted in the permaculture course. So they were planted in the middle of August. And I transplanted them to this bed in the middle of September, maybe. And this is also, the bed is made from the hay and compost that we found, and also I used some all local organic material I could find in the garden. And they are doing amazing. They're growing really, really well. I have like, I don't know, but 6, 7 little pumpkins already here. Don't know if you can see them. They're like this big. I have no idea if it's still enough time for the pumpkins to get ready this year, but I'm super happy to see them growing so well. And it's still flowering. It has lots of flowers. All 3 plants are doing really, really well. So here is another Hokkaido pumpkin that I planted from the seed in the end of August, I guess. And it's growing also really, really well. It has already a couple of small little pumpkins on it. Again, I have no idea if the weather will allow the pumpkins to ripen or not, but I'm just happy to see it growing so well. It's doing really well. It has a lot of new flowers also coming and little pumpkins already. Here I have some cappuccino cresses in between. They are also growing well, don't have flowers yet. And here I have some porre. Is it in English, porre? Yeah, porre is also growing really well. And in between the pumpkin, I have beans everywhere for fixing nitrogen. In the bed, that was the idea, but they are also growing really well and already flowering. So maybe we will even get some beans from here. So this bed here was another experiment. I wanted to try the deep mulch method of gardening. So we just digged up a little bit of the local soil and we planted potatoes. And I planted some red cabbage and some broccolis in between the potatoes. And I have to say it's doing pretty well as well. The potatoes seem to grow really well. I mean, I haven't harvested any of them. They are still not ready for harvesting, but they seem to grow pretty strong. And the red cabbage as well seems to grow pretty well. So I'm curious to see how, if I will get some potatoes this year. That would be really great. And so this year was another experiment. I digged up a little bit of the local soil as it was. It looked pretty clayey, full of clay and silt to me. So I thought nothing will probably grow here very well. But nevertheless, I threw some seeds just to see what happens. And I also planted a lot of beans because I thought that I can grow some green mulch to make the soil better for the next year. And also this area here is under a tree, it's under a pear tree. So for my great surprise, because I thought that in this soil probably nothing will grow, it was super hard and clayey, and especially it was so hot, so it was really super hard. But stuff started to grow suddenly. So I have some kind of big radishes here, which seem to do really well. These are not like the little red radishes, those are big black radishes and they are getting huge. I threw some rucola seeds. Rucola is growing really well. I'm also eating rucola from the garden already for 3 weeks. That's a dream come true for me. I love rucola and I never want to buy it from the shop because it's you don't know what they spray on it. So to have rucola on the garden, it's like a dream come true. And the beans are growing like crazy as well. So I guess the local soil is actually not as bad. And I guess everything really appreciated the shade of the tree here. So for next year, I will have to plant more stuff under the trees and create some shade during the summer. That's one lesson I learned here. And this here is my latest experiment. Since the local soil experiment that I did previously under the pear tree was so successful and everything grew so well, I decided to dig up a little bit more. Even so, I love no-dig gardening and I just hate digging, but I thought I can dig a little bit. So I digged up some local soil. I didn't add anything to it and I decided to just try how stuff grows. I wanted to try to grow some root vegetable. And I planted some reddish, little red radish. I planted some broccoli from the seed and some carrots, and again some rucola or rocket salad. And the radishes are doing really well. I mean, this is a very new bed. It's only 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks since I made it, even less. So radishes seem to grow well. I haven't had any yet because they are still small. The broccolis are growing really well, and surprisingly in this bed they are not eaten by the bugs, which is really funny because in every other bed the bugs are eating my broccolis, but in this one not. And about carrots I can't tell you because they are just now coming up. And the rocket is also coming up, so it seems to be pretty successful. I'm very curious. I can give you an update in a month to see if the carrots are actually growing. I would be really happy to get some carrots. And in this bed here, I know you want to tell me I have planted everything way too close together. I know, but I really wanted to try to grow different stuff. So I have planted some mangold, or what is the English word? Winter chard. Winter chard. Yeah, I have planted some winter chard, which is doing really well. I just harvested this bed today already. I harvested a whole bunch for cooking lunch. So this is what is left, but it's growing very well. I think it was Bill Mollison who said that people in the Western world are not growing enough Swiss chard. So I decided to try to grow, and it's growing really well. So I've been already cooking from it several times, and every once a week at least I can harvest a whole bunch and cook from it. And between the Swiss chard, I have some red radishes, which are doing really well as well. I have already harvested also a lot of radishes. We can have salad from radishes almost every day now. And they are still growing really well. So, and this bed here, another one. This bed here is also the same mulch bed. It's just layers of hay and compost. And I made it only maybe a month and a half ago. And I planted radishes, Swiss chard, and something else. Oh, a little bit of rocket salad as well, rucola. And it's growing all super well. So within 1.5 months, I'm already harvesting from it. So what is not doing so well are my broccolis. As already in the previous bed, here the same story. I even tried some companion planting. I put parsley and cilantro and onions and garlic, all kind of companion plants between them that are supposed to keep the bugs away. Doesn't work. They are all eaten up by some bugs. So I don't think I'm gonna get any broccolis from here this year. That's a little bit sad. But what grows well in this bed is dill. I'm really happy because I love dill. It's one of my favorite herbs. I'm super happy I can harvest it from the garden. I also tried to plant some little peas, sweet peas. And they didn't grow very well either. I think it's maybe because it was too hot when I planted them. So the plant stayed small. I got few peas out of it for eating. I have one right here. So we can eat few peas, but it wasn't as successful as I would have expected. We're obviously still ages away from growing all our food and being totally self-sufficient. But just the first baby steps on the way are giving us tremendous satisfaction.